What's up with it, man? Polo Sports Talking Entertainment here again with another one. Um, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notifications so that you're able to get all of my content. Um, Now that we're getting ready to come up on the battle that's finna take place between 3 6 and Bone Thugs and Harmony, I figure I'll talk about some hip hop for a little bit, okay? Now, some of y'all don't know, and y'all maybe know, you know what I'm saying? If you grew up around that time, if you're between the ages, I would say anywhere from maybe anywhere from about, I would say 30, 34, 35, all the way up until maybe mid 40s, then you'll know that rap back then was a whole lot different than what you see now in terms of the way that it's being distributed and the way that even the way that it's being marketed. Now the appeal is still relatively the same, I would say. But the way that it's being consumed is different too. Slim Thug, before even came into the rap game, he was already he was already pretty much a millionaire uh, before he had stepped up into the game. Uh, and the reason why that is because they were making more money. When I'm talking about Slim Thug, and I'm talking about Swisher House, and talking about Boss Hog Outlaws, they were already making a lot of money doing what they were doing in terms of the underground scene, and it was still a case where they were distributing. See, like what he used to do was, now don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the street life and stuff like that, of course, they were definitely doing their thing in that regard. But I don't want to sit here and, you know, glamorize, that whole situation and stuff, because some people have to do what they have to do in order to survive, in order to make ends meet. Uh, I know that, like, what they used to do is they were the way that they were distributing everything and moving their CD, because they still had tapes back then. They still had tapes and they still had CDs, okay? And record stores were always promoting various albums, but it also, when you talk about the circuit and you talk about the Chitlin circuit, and you're talking about it being distributed all throughout the South, they were hitting all of those lines. They were hitting the main, of course, they were hitting, the Texas, the main spots in Texas or whatever. They had Texas on lock, but they had not only the South on lock, but they had the Southeast on lock, and as well as the Southwest too, as well. So by the time Slim Thug had already hit the industry, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff that, as far as getting a deal and stuff like that, he had already well accomplished that, even before signing a deal. Because that's when he ended up signing on with Pharrell and them. Uh, I want to say Neptunes. That's who he had signed with. But originally, of course, everybody knew him from starting off with with Swisher House, and pretty much what Swisher House was it was a label that was geared more towards chopped and screwed music, but they did the freestyles and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But he had parted ways from Swisher House, and it wasn't on anything. It wasn't on any type of bad terms or anything like that. But he kind of wanted to do his own thing. Much like a lot of CEOs and bosses want to do. If you want to be an owner where you want to do your own thing, well, that's what he did. He ended up forming his independent label, which was Boss Hog Outlaws. But see, while he was with Swisher House, they were already doing numbers. They were doing numbers, and you know, like his album, his album that he had came out with was called Already Platinum. And the reason why he had named it that is because the dude was already, he pretty much was already making platinum money, like as if they already gave him a deal. Uh, and even we already know that one of his songs it had debuted number 2 on the U.S. Billboard charts. You know what I'm saying? 200. It was 200 Billboard 200 albums chart. So he got a whole lot of mixtapes. That he had made with Swisher House. Not and it began in the late '90s. You know what I'm saying? And he made money off of distributing his own mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he did, and he figured that out. You know what I'm saying? And he figured that out early. He figured out how to he was ahead of his time in terms of figuring out how to get money in a smarter way. You know, uh, for those of y'all that don't know, Slim Thug, man, he promotes not only he promotes a lot of things, but the one thing that he promotes, man, is craftiness and building things on your own, things of that nature. Like fixing up houses and everything because he's a handyman and stuff. Uh, coming out of Houston, but he does work. He does like fencing work, stuff like that. But it was interesting because he was being interviewed and being talked to while doing that sort of thing, and he was saying that it's better to go ahead and fix stuff like this on your own so you won't have to rely and depend on anybody else, you know what I'm saying, and shedding out all this money when you could learn how to do things on your own, and be Masonic about it in terms of, building and, creating things of that nature. And that is so true. You know, that's why I had already seen, because I seen the groundwork early, in terms of what he was doing and how he impacted the game. And it reminded me his work ethic was something sick too as well, because how he was distributing and getting people to listen to the music that he was making, as well. At the end of the day, it's about the money too. It He was more so about, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead while You want me to kiss up to you, and you want me to get all of these things done for you and stuff like that, but I'm not getting nothing on the back end. Why don't I just go ahead and create my own entity? And that's what he ended up doing. A lot of people don't realize that he was one of the ones that actually wanted to do something like that. You know, he was the one that started. When you talk about, you know, Boss Hog Outlaws, that's him. He's the one that started that. You know, and he did a pretty good job at it too. You know, but like I was saying, he already came into the game already rich. So none of that stuff, all that deals and stuff like that. And see, now you see more and more people that was trying to do that and trying to come into the game like independent and stuff, you know. And that's why like a group like 3 6 Mafia, you know, and this isn't take anything away from Bone Thugs or Harmony because I do like them. But aside from 3 6 and the music and stuff, I respected 3 6 for their grind. You know, I respect anybody that steps up in the hip hop game and is doing it the way that it's supposed to be done instead of trying to cheat, cut corners, and sign your life away, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for instance, Zero doesn't want to go commercial. You know, he doesn't want to because it's a price that you pay, believe it or not, when you do that sort of thing. You know, but people don't understand and realize that. But Slim Thug, he realized that. Now, I don't want to get into the, you know, well, is he a part of this or is he, you know, a part of some sort of ritual and all that other stuff. Look, I'm not even gonna get into that. You know, you do your own judgment on that. But all I'm talking about is how he was already well established even before he hit the ground running in terms of with a major, you know. So you gotta give your props to a guy like, you know, Slim Thug. And see, on this channel, what I like to do is I like to talk about people that really don't get talked about enough, and also talk about the people that people really didn't really know, and bring some interesting facts because some of y'all look at some of these guys and they are, you know, they're famous and they got notoriety and stuff like that, not realizing what type of work that individual had put in, or you know what type of struggle they had to go to in order to make it, you know. And in this case, yeah, he went through some blood, sweat, and tears, but it was a much it was a much appreciated blood, sweat, and tears because he had already grinded long before he had, you know, went mainstream. You know, so all of him going, you know, going on TV, stuff like that, you know, and getting the notoriety that he was getting and stuff, he had already established that, you know, a long time ago, you know. So you got to give your salute to a guy like Slim Thug because he was one of those type of individuals that was able to be a boss before even hitting the scenes, and he came in, you know, pretty much calling the shots. And that's one of the reasons why I respected, you know, a guy like Gucci Man too, because Gucci Man went kind of in you know, they follow like the similar path. You know, you got to begin somewhere, but to be able to go from, you know, the trunk of your car and you know, be able to sell uh, records out of there and everything, that's phenomenal to where he is now. So, um, like this video, share it, subscribe. What's up with it, Lou? I'll see you in the building, man. You said he almost did the same thing like David Banner. You like in the sense of what, Lou? Because David Banner was a producer too. He was a producer too. And everybody just thought that. You said no, he wasn't for real. Who you said David Banner wasn't a producer? Yes, he was. But I'm trying to understand what Lou was saying. You said he almost did the same thing like David Banner. I'm trying to understand what you were saying. Oh yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, he had been doing that. There's countless of rappers I can name that were doing that. Of course, Too Short was the obvious one that was doing that. Master P did that. Um, UGK, when Pimp C and Bun B, uh, when Pimp C was alive and everything, and they had UGK, they were selling tapes and CDs out the trunk of their car, and believe it or not, man, okay, they would get a lot of units, get them press cut, get the press cuts or whatever, and move those units, like whether it was CDs and tapes or whatever, go get them press cut or recorded, whatever, and drop them off in different stores and stuff like that. That's how it was being distributed back in the days. And so, and then they'll do a show, or they'll do a concert, and next thing you know, they already got a buzz, or then they'll drop off their music in the strip clubs and stuff, because your music has to get broke. And Houston is one of the homes of the best uh butt nakeds, in the US. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about Houston, talk about Dallas. Yeah, he was living in his van. Yep, I remember that. I remember that, man. Yeah, David Banner, he had a big struggle too, man. And David Banner, you want to talk about somebody being woke? He definitely was woke. But Slim Thug, um, they had came with that type of, because a lot of guys weren't dropping that many units off like that at different record players. They were driving sometimes in different states, like driving literally. They weren't just fly. They weren't flying. They were actually driving. And so, like a hop skip. They saw, if they were like in Houston or something like that, they would see Florida or Georgia or something like that, of course, as a hop, skip, and a jump. Because you just take the stretch on the interstate, and then you're gonna run across the major cities, and then gotta go. Once you build up, then you go to other places and stuff, and it just started circulating, everywhere. But Swisher House, man, they were running things more than what a lot of people realized back then. And a lot of people did know who they were. There were a lot of people that didn't know who they were, but there are a lot of people that did. So yeah, Slim Thug, man, he definitely got to give him his salute. You got to give him his props, man. He's the one that Slim Thug is the one that I think out of everybody out of Swisher House, he was the one that was the most successful. Now, one could even argue with with Chamillionaire, not in the sense of his consistency, but he was intelligent in terms of because he made a song, he made two songs, but of course, Riding Dirty gets played everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And that song straight up blew up to where he didn't really have to do that much anymore. And then he had some other business ventures. You know, in that sense, you know what I'm saying, Chameleon there won, but in terms of overall impact and success overall, Slim Thug. But y'all let me know what you think, man. I thank everybody for pulling up, man. Make sure y'all go subscribe to the homie Luda Rider Sports. Uh, his page is popping. One of the LDBC brothers. But until then, man, it's Polo Sports Talking Entertainment, man. I'll get at y'all later.